Stressed out but don't have the time or energy to do anything about it? Grab the Busy Nurse's Guide to Less Stress at www.jennylytle.com/guide. And make sure to subscribe and like the podcast. And please leave a review. It really helps. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Nurse's Break Room with Jenny Lytle RN. And we are continuing our Lies We Tell Ourselves series. And this week, the focus is on the lie, I'll do it later. This lie is a big deal because when we tell ourselves that we'll do something later, the problem is that we either forget about it completely, and it's something maybe that needed to be done, or we think about it and feel bad about the fact that we haven't done it. And it's just added to this continual list of things that are weighing on us. And when we schedule a specific time to do something, then that frees up our mind to be able to focus on other things. And if we do the things that take a short period of time, then that's something that we don't have to schedule, we don't have to think about again. And as we do those little things, that gives us a feeling of accomplishment and can lead to wanting to do more of the things that maybe we've been putting off doing. I read something years ago about the things that take 2 minutes or less. When you think of them, don't think, oh, I'll do that later. Go ahead and do them right now, because those 2 minutes that it's going to take to do them frees up so much time in thinking and in planning for doing the things later. And if you're like me, I like to write things on my to-do list if they're much bigger than that, just so I can cross them off, because sometimes we have those days where we don't feel like we're really accomplishing a whole lot. And so a few ways to overcome procrastination and be able to get some focus time in is to use some things like the 2-minute technique, like I mentioned earlier, and also the Pomodoro technique, which is basically just taking little chunks of time. And so you're setting a timer or using an app for this, and you set a timer for maybe 25 minutes or 30 minutes. And you just, during that time, you are completely focused on the task at hand. And then you take a couple minute break when the timer goes off, and you can get up and stretch or just move around a little bit, and then do another one of the same length of time. And then after you've done 2 to 4 of those, then you take a little bit longer of a break. And it's a way to kind of trick yourself into staying focused, because you know, okay, I'm going to just work as hard as I can, as fast as I can during this time frame, and then I'm going to take a little bit of a break. And it's something that can be very powerful, because I know that for me personally, when I get really into something, then I tend to think I'll take a break later. And what happens is I end up with a lot of neck and shoulder discomfort, and my hips get a little bit stiff because I'm sitting for too long. And it's easy to do that when you're passionate about things that you're working on. But for overall health, stress relief, feeling your best, taking those breaks is really important. And having little ways to celebrate. When we incorporate some rewards into our rhythms, then that keeps us more motivated. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be getting up and going outside for a few minutes, doing things that make you feel good. Maybe it's calling a friend or sitting down with a pet for a little bit. It's not something that needs to be all about food or something that involves spending money. It's just about taking the time to recognize that, hey, I've done a good job. And so what is one thing that you have told yourself I'll do later. And how can you fit that into your day today or into your week, or at least get that scheduled for some specific time, not just later, but a specific time so that you can get that crossed off of your list. And I myself have a couple of things that I have been working on leading up to this book launch that I've been telling myself, you know what, I'll do that part later. I'll do that part later. And today I'm committing to actually getting my keywords into Amazon, because hopefully the book will be coming out in the next week or two. And so I need to get that ready. So there's my public commitment of what I am planning to do and when I am planning to do it. I hope that you will continue to join us for the other episodes in this series. If you haven't listened to them, they're all nice and short, able to fit into your busy life. You can go back and check those out. And be sure to join us next week for Self-Care is Selfish. And of course, that's a lie that we often tell ourselves. And you know that I am passionate about the fact that self-care isn't selfish. And so we'll talk a bit more about that next week. Thanks so much. Disclaimer. Although I am a registered nurse, the medical and health information contained in this podcast is provided for general information and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. Therefore, before taking any actions based upon such information, I encourage you to consult with appropriate professionals. I do not provide any specific medical or health advice, and the use of or reliance on any information contained in this podcast is solely at your own risk.